Hello and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
And as you can see and tell, we are not in our normal setting.
We're together.
We're together, number one. Hey, this is nice. And we've kind of set up like an ersatz
That's a big word for a Saturday morning.
Really good.
Well, you know, I cheat because I know German, and so that one works well for me. But we've got a panel table going on that we've set up here at Maria's in Taylorsville.
Yes.
Yeah. This is one of our favorite places.
Just off 54 South in Redwood.
We're looking at 5400 South right now. Hey, 5400 South.
How are you doing?
So if you drive by right now, we can wave.
Or go back in time. Get in your DeLorean. Get back over here.
Well, that's true.
Say hi.
There's some time travel that would need to be involved in that.
But we
That's
had
a fair point.
incredible nachos.
Yeah.
I had flautas. You had a tostada.
Yes, it was delicious.
Yeah, I had sopes.
Oh, that's right.
Which I don't think I've ever had. I need to try something
They
new.
look-
It was new for me too, but I really liked them.
They were cute. It was a cute meal for
Yeah,
you.
they're like this big. They're like the size of a coaster.
They kind of looked like little pies.
Yeah,
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they come with 3 of them. It was delicious. That mixed with the nachos, I didn't eat all 3 of them. So that
Yeah,
it was
I'm
very-
taking food home for
Yeah.
sure. It's a
That's
lot.
the thing. You get
It's
a lot of food here.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's good sized portions, and the food is really delicious.
Family owned and operated.
Yeah, family owned and operated. It is traditional Mexican fare.
Yes.
So, and that's important that you make that distinction, because sometimes I talk to people and they're like, I really like Mexican food, and my favorite place is Cafe Rio.
That's a different type of Mexican food.
And then I'm like, well, then you're not going to like this place because it's very different. You might.
You might. I like both places, but I think it just depends on what you're in the mood for.
Sure.
And what you think.
More traditional
That
versus
is.
more Americanized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But this is very good.
You can get
So you should definitely
moles
check it
here,
out.
sopas. Yeah.
Yep.
I got a flauta.
Yeah. I always say I'm going to try something new, and I always get the nachos and the guac. I always forget, how much of a kick the guac has. It's not overpowering, but it's
No.
It does.
it wakes you up in the morning.
Well, and the salsa, too, has a pretty good
Yeah.
kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Whereas
that.
usually in Utah Mexican restaurants, it's like
You got to ask for the kick, and then they just kick you.
Yeah,
and
that's not fun. Nobody really wants that.
But I like that it has a kick and flavor. Because I
Yes.
don't like when something's so hot that you're just like, this doesn't taste like anything, but my mouth's on fire.
Yeah. I agree. It's got to have the flavor and the kick, and then it's a
Yeah.
good combination. It's not overpowering. So
Yeah.
it's weird to look outside right now
I know.
because we are
We're
right
kind
on
of looking at
54.
shrubbery.
We are. We're looking at shrubbery, and we're just a little bit lower than street level, so it feels like, but we're not in the basement.
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just excited because I am a week away from Disneyland. So I leave Wednesday for the nerdiest thing I think I'm ever going to do, and that's go work an event. And I have to ask you, because I mess it up every time. I don't play. It's Magic the Gathering,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Magic the Gathering. It's an event that is just all about Magic the Gathering, and I'm going to go work it in Vegas, which is kind of a weird place to have such a nerdy event. I don't know.
I could see it in Vegas,
but and then I'm going to drive from there to Anaheim to celebrate my daughter's 21st birthday, and we're going to be at Oogie Boogie Bash on Halloween night.
That's so cool.
I am dressing up as Dr. Facilier, and I'm really excited about my outfit, and I'm doing the face paint of the white skull. So it's that, and I have a hat and all the
you need
stuff.
to go live.
I will try. If
least do
it
photos.
doesn't, I will make sure I post photos.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that night is all about her.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
But I will be posting videos and photos on both our site and Multiplane Podcast that week, because I will be Disney bounding for the first time.
Oh, cool.
I have my daughter sent us a list of the days and what characters, what we can choose from. So we have villains the night of Oogie Boogie Bash, so I'm Shadow Man, Dr. Facilier. On Tuesday, it's Winnie the Pooh, and so I am Piglet.
Okay.
On Wednesday, it is either Star Wars or Marvel. And if it's Star Wars, I'm wearing, my husband Dave got us those jumpers, and mine is,
That's cool.
and I wore them before. I've worn mine before, but mine's the Mandalorian and his is Han Solo.
Very nice.
And then for Marvel Day, I can't decide though. I can't decide if I want to do something Spider-Man or if I want to do Black Widow because Dave is being Hulk.
Okay.
And so I don't know if I haven't decided. I have things that could go with either of those. I just haven't made my ultimate decision. And then on Friday, the last day we're there, it is Happily Ever After. So we pick our favorite, like, Happily Ever After couple. And Dave and I are being Eva and Wally.
Oh, man. That's awesome. That'll be awesome.
I cannot wait to
all
see
those
this.
pictures.
Yeah.
It's hard. You mentioned going live, and I just think it's so hard because anymore when you're an influencer of any kind, you feel like you have to go live from these things instead of experiencing them.
Yeah.
So if you get the opportunity, it'd be great to see you. But if you are in the moment, that is important.
No, you know I'm going to document
Yes.
things.
Yes.
You know, especially because my daughter is going to be like Oogie Boogie Bash. I'm going to get a lot of video and pictures and all of that anyway.
Right.
But she's going to be Oogie Boogie. And so I'm very excited for that.
Well,
and
happy birthday, Sammy.
21.
That's crazy.
That's
I'm
crazy.
going to have a 21-year-old.
That's not possible.
I am going to drink at Disneyland with my daughter. Well, California Adventure or Downtown Disney. If she wants to, she may not be into it.
Sure.
But if you're going to have your first drink somewhere,
Might as
it
well
might
be
as
at
well be the
Disney.
happiest place on earth.
It's every parent's dream.
She's the one that said she wanted to try a margarita on the pier.
Okay, sure.
I actually don't think she'll like liquor at all. She's a very picky person. She doesn't take medications. She doesn't like things that have flavor. So I don't think, and I'm not bashing you, Sammy. I love you, and your tastes are your tastes. I don't think she'll love it. So I think I'm going to have a margarita.
Hey.
I'm basically going to buy her a margarita.
And then you get a
and
second
then she's going to
margarita.
test it and be like, that's gross. Can I get one without alcohol? And I said, yes, you can, and I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want it to go to waste.
No.
Absolutely
I am not a
not.
wasteful person.
Well, have you seen the prices for drinks in Disneyland? You
Yeah, but
definitely don't want to let it go to waste.
But I love going down to the pier and getting the bread bowl.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
my favorite.
Oh, I went, the last time I went at Halloween time, it was right before they started doing the after hours party.
Yeah.
It was like the year before. But on the pier, they had a pumpkin chorizo soup in a bread bowl. So good.
That's very
So
basic
good.
of you. I'm
I
so
never
proud
would
of you.
have thought I'd have pumpkin soup. But
Yeah.
It was
Really, I
good.
haven't tried it. I will have to
Yeah,
try
it's-
it.
So,
Very
I don't know
basic
if they'll
of you.
still have it
I'm
because this
so
was
proud of
years
you.
ago. But
That was one of the most backhanded, I love it. That's so basic of you. I'm so proud. Way to go. Way to be basic, Tracy.
Tracy is anything but basic.
I know, especially when it comes to food. Like, he is a very adventurous person when
I
it comes
try
to
to be.
trying
There are
new
certain things
and
that
new
I
foods.
don't like, but I will try stuff to see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I always think I do Disneyland right, and then I see Tracy's pictures of all of your food, and I'm like, where were these things?
What?
How did I not see? Why do I not know? So at some point, all three of us are
yes.
going to go to Disneyland, and you're going to show us how to
Yes.
food
Absolutely.
Disneyland.
100%.
Yes. And that is going to be an epic day.
An
Or
epic
5.
week.
Yeah, it's going to have to be more than one day.
Where would you guys go to Disneyland to do? Just eat. We
eat.
just went there to eat.
Yeah.
You would never say that about Lagoon.
Nope.
There's a lot of things I wouldn't say about Lagoon.
There's a lot of things I would say if that were the topic of the show.
But it's not.
But it's
if that's
not.
your
Talking
jam,
about today.
then go to Lagoon and have a good time.
Yeah,
Lagoon's not really
absolutely.
my jam.
Absolutely.
But we are actually talking about an animated movie today that is not a Disney movie, but is now on Disney Plus because it is a 20th Century Fox movie, which Disney Plus now owns. So it's really cool because, and we're going to get into it, but Disney is known for their animation. And I think that they have adopted a very visually cool animated movie into their family.
Yeah. It was interesting. I sat down and was watching this, and of course it was a kids movie, and so the kids all came in. They also come in when it's not a kids movie, but then I
Right.
have to try to shoo them out. Or I just am more selective about the times that I'm watching it. But this was the middle of the afternoon. We turned it on, and Ben came in, and he was like, "Oh, this is a lot like Coco. Just like right off the bat, he picked up on some of the visual similarities.
And I believe the Book of Life it came out before Coco, but Coco doesn't mean that it wasn't in thoughts, but before. But they are similar in what they're about, but the movies themselves are very different. But I think the Book of Life gets forgotten about.
Yeah, it does.
But I have to tell you, I have seen some amazing cosplay at conventions about the Book of Life, like the big red dress and red hat I've seen, and it's amazing, these cosplays from this movie.
Well, it seems like this is one of those movies that when it did come out, for whatever reason, I feel like there was something, it came out the time of year that it came out, it went up against Disney, Pixar, something. And it just didn't ever like do huge at the box office. Like I don't think it flopped.
It made $100 million.
Yeah, which for an animated feature is not bad.
Not bad. Yeah.
That's good.
But it didn't really catch on to the public zeitgeist. You know?
Right. But
that's a German word.
That's another German word. We are multicultural.
We've both done a German word. It's on you now.
I'm not doing it.
That's fair.
The same movie, so it was 2014, was The Book of Life. The Box Trolls, which I think is another one people forget about, but Big Hero 6, Penguins, but I think the big one was the Lego Movie.
Yes.
Came out that year. Song of the Sea, which is actually a really cool animated movie that we should talk about sometime.
I haven't seen that one.
Rio 2, which nobody cared about. There was a bunch of animated movies that way. Let's see. But I think that was the biggest one.
Yeah.
Big Hero 6 of the Lego Movie.
Big Hero 6 Lego Movie.
Well, I feel like Lego Movie was probably a February release.
Yeah,
probably.
And then I think Big Hero 6 probably went head-to-head a little bit. Because I imagine this had to have
How
come out
to Train
in the
Your
fall.
Dragon 2 came out at the same time. So that was the year we got Lava, the short, which I love.
Which is a great
Lava.
short. Yeah. I love Lava.
A lot of really great animated movies that year. Feast was that year.
I bet you're right. I bet you Big Hero 6.
If they went head-to-head,
wouldn't surprise me.
Probably. So it kind of gets lost in the shuffle, but I feel like it has also gained a cult following.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Val, I think that you do see a lot, but there is so much visually from this movie that is interesting. And if I was a cosplayer, and I'm not, only because that's just not my thing, I respect the heck out of them. If I was a cosplayer, like this would be a huge challenge, whether it's La Muerte or Sabalba, like trying to put that costume together would be really impressive, and pulling that off would be really cool.
Had you seen it before?
No, this was the first time that I had seen it. So I had heard of it, I had heard about it, but it just missed my plate.
I do want to say before we get yelled at, and a small movie called Frozen that won the Academy Award that year for Best Animated Feature.
Okay, that's what buried it then. It was Frozen. I'll bet it was Frozen that buried this one.
Yep.
Because I imagine this had to come out in October-ish time, because that's when
I would assume so. September, October.
Yeah, because you want it in theaters for
the Day of the Dead, Halloween.
Yeah. So
little movie called Frozen. You may not have heard of it, but
I never thought I would say this in my life. I would love to do an animated show where we talk about these, because I just finished the book, The Women of Animation.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that.
And Frozen was actually thought about in the beginning of the Disney animated years, but it didn't come out until recently, and so was Lion King and Aladdin. Like, there was a whole bunch of movies that were thought of way back in the beginning that didn't come out until later, after the people that had visually put those things together were no longer at the studio anymore. But they kind of set the tone, and Little Mermaid was one of those that was thought of in the beginning, and it ultimately saved. It became to the Renaissance,
that was the beginning
right?
of the Disney Renaissance. Yeah.
But I think something like Little Mermaid is the reason why we can have a movie like Book of Life now, because of the characters and the visuals and the colors that were used, and that were not really used and things in the way that was done. But that was one big thing of the Book of Life, was the animation style was so cool.
It's so different.
So different.
Well, and I love they set that up at the beginning, because you have the basic premise is you have a group of kids going to a museum. The tour guide gives them a tour, but she's giving them a special
Day of the Dead tour.
Out of the way tour that not everybody gets. But she talks about at the beginning, all of the characters are like these wooden characters, and she says these represent the figures.
Yeah.
And that's what informs the rest of the film. So they all look like these wooden
Boxes,
marionette type of characters. Yeah.
Yeah, and that took some adjustment, I think, at first for me as I was watching it. It does look really cool, and the colors and everything, visually, it's very, very appealing. I didn't like the group of kids at the beginning. The one that had like the hair growing over his face, and I'm like, I didn't
Dang
like
kids.
that
Everybody
as
knows
much.
that kid, though.
Well, sure, like, well, I mean, that could have been my 6 kids, honestly. That could have made up that group.
The little girl who's very sweet.
Yeah. And depending on which day of the week we're talking about, that could be any of my girls. But yeah, it is a very different style. And that was another thing that Ben commented on. And I'll give you, throughout this, I might give you little snippets from what Ben said.
Please.
But he commented that it was like watching a Roblox game because they were very boxy, like Roblox characters.
I could see him making that connection, yeah.
I think the quality was higher than what you would see in a Roblox game, personally.
No idea what this game is.
Oh.
They're all block
Sorry.
figures. And
Right. I mean, I got that with context clues, but I've never
seen Minecraft?
Yeah.
It's similar to Minecraft,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
But my kids play Roblox way more than they should. And so he was like, yeah, it's like a Roblox movie. But I thought it was better. The animation was better than that. So
I love it because this is one of the first movies that we get to meet Diego Luna, who is Andor, right?
Yep.
I had forgotten that he was in this.
Yeah,
and I'm
well, this
watching it
cast
last
is
night.
pretty fun.
Well, yeah, I'm watching this last night, and I'm like, that sounds like Diego Luna. I don't know if he was in it. And I paused the movie and looked it up, and I'm like, it is Diego Luna.
Yeah, we hadn't had
I think this was
a
like
lot.
his 4th film, but his first
Animated,
American.
and first American and first animated that I'm aware of.
He got a claim on Y Tu Tambien, but
your Spanish is so spot on, Tracy.
Oh,
it is so good.
So gringo. I took Spanish in college 25 years ago.
You guys are throwing out different languages. I'm just trying to say people's names right. But so we have Diego Luna, we have Channing Tatum, we have George R. Don't know how to say his last name. Gutierrez. And of course, your man Guillermo is producer of this show.
And
we have
one of the voices.
Yep. The amazing Zoe Saldana, Ron Perlman, who I just started listening to his book today.
Okay.
And it's interesting so far. Ice Cube.
Of course.
Christina Applegate. Just a lot of different. And I love Gabriel Iglesias is so hilarious in his character. You don't see him very often, but when he's there, I just you.
And this was like when
so
he was
funny.
just starting, too.
Was
so
it?
similar.
I thought he's been around for a while.
Yeah,
He's been around for a while, but
like in the
his
mainstream,
stand-up
maybe
stuff
not.
has been around for a long time.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't in the
I think
mainstream,
he
but
was
I've known
just-
about him for a
I
while.
think he was just kind of peeking into the
I was on the
mainstream.
same plane as him one time, like
Really?
5 years ago. Yeah,
Oh.
I was like, hey, he was
know
walking
you.
on like the same time I was, and I was like,
Oh, that's cool.
"You're." I didn't say anything to him, but I wanted to say, "You're funny," and then I was like, "Don't say that, Val."
Yeah, that's good because
Don't
he's
say-
probably
gonna
heard
be like,
that one before.
I hope so, because that's how I pay my bills.
That is literally what makes me money. That was a great Stars, They're Just Like Us moment, you know.
Yeah, we're both getting on the plane.
Yeah.
Putting stuff in the overhead compartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that I loved about this, though, is so often with animated films, you get voice actors, you get actors who have big names that they cast.
Yeah.
And they don't, and you just hear that actor's voice, and that's you can't help
can't
but
get
think
past
that's
it, yeah.
who it is.
Yeah.
And
Like casting Chris Pratt as Mario.
exactly, which we probably will get into when we.
At some point.
I'm sure we
that
will
movie
at
comes
some
out,
point,
yeah.
yeah.
But like
But it is
Channing
not
Tatum,
today.
he is such a funny dude.
Yeah.
Like he's a good actor. I loved him in the Coen Brothers film, and I can't think of the name of it.
I hate that movie. I know you like it, but I hate it.
Hail Caesar, I think it was, but.
I
love it when it's so blatant like that. I loved it with this. I hate that movie. Like
That's
I
when
love
you
those
know-
moments
We've
on
been
the
together
show.
for long enough that we can just do that.
I don't actually hate any movie. If
No,
you
you
know
hate
me
that
well
one.
enough, I don't really hate anything. I don't care for the two movies that usually people say they love him in, and it's the race car movie where the heist
Okay.
movie. Isn't he in that one too?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Maybe that's not him.
Anyway.
But I'm not a huge fan of Hail Caesar, and I want to be. I really wanted to like that movie. And I feel angry at myself that I don't like it.
It's not the Coen brothers' best, but there are parts.
Yeah.
Like his dance routine in that is hysterical.
I think the movie that I like him the most in is actually Free Guy, because he plays into the stereotypes of himself so much that I just love that he went and did this small part. He played the biggest stupid head. I'm going to say that instead of the word I wanted to use. He was like almost typecast into what people think he is if he was a video gamer, right?
Right.
And I just love that because it's hard to do that. Like you might think it's easy to go in and do that, but I thought that was so cool of him to do.
It's hard to do it well, I think.
Yeah.
Because you have to really have a good sense of humor of yourself to like do that really well. Because if you don't, then it's going to come across as insincere or it just doesn't play well. But I thought he was hilarious in Free Guy. Loved him in Free Guy.
Yeah. But yeah, just the coloring in this film. And I thought it was really cool. I read a little background on the film, and the director didn't want his animators to go to Mexico because he said, then you're going to get locked into a certain view of it. And he said, come to me and ask me questions, and I'll tell you what my childhood was like. I want this kind of super different. He didn't want a realistic version of Mexico.
Yeah, I mean this because it's a make believe that's based on the interpretation of traditions. Right. But what I thought was really cool is there are certain scenes in the movie that are animated as if you were to shoot that beauty shot. Like when you have the scene where the two main characters they have the moon in the background and the trees, and he kneels down. Like, that's a shot. It's an animated shot, but it's a shot. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so there were just some really cool moments that are animated just as if we were shooting it with a camera.
The other one that made me think of that too when I was watching this last night is the towards the end when Manolo has come back from the dead and they're kissing, and then the camera is doing the 360 spin. I'm like, okay, that's not something you often see in an
That's a Sandra Bullock
film.
movie.
That is totally a Sandra Bullock movie. Absolutely.
Yeah, and to do that in animation is pretty amazing. Like, they pull off a lot of really cool stuff in this visually.
I love too that a lot of the animators were Mexican. A lot of the voice actors were. It felt very sincere. It didn't feel. It didn't feel like a corporate movie.
Right.
You know, even though it was like a big fat corporate movie.
It absolutely was. But it felt like it was coming from a genuine place.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like, we're just going to cater to this audience and then try and milk some money out of it, which of course obviously they wanted to do.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like there was a lot of corporate oversight. It felt like it had a singular voice, which I liked.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's rare to find in a big corporate movie.
Yeah.
Because usually the corporate, the studio
most
gets
of the
involved
animated movies that we see are all big studio corporate movies.
Right.
You know, because that's what makes money. I mean, there are a lot of animated movies that are out there that we don't see.
I don't know if I would consider Disney a big corporation. Sorry, I shouldn't wait until you're drinking to say something like that.
I mean, like, there's a ton of animation that comes out every year that hardly gets seen.
Sure.
There's a lot of animation that's streaming. You should go out and look at it. But I'm not against corporate animation. I mean, I don't think it always hits the same.
Right. Well, it's interesting when you look at some of the earlier Pixar stuff compared to some of the newer stuff that's come out. When Pixar was being distributed by Disney, but they were still a company unto themselves.
Seemed more independent.
And it seemed, their stories to me seemed more, not that I'm bagging on Pixar at all, but like they seem more creative, more original.
Challenging.
And now it seems like they're doing more sequels and more safe choices. Although that, to be fair, like Turning Red and Soul were two of my favorite movies that have come out recently that were not safe in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I mean, you got to pay the bills at the end of the day, but at the same time.
But like Lightyear, come on.
I really enjoyed Lightyear.
Lightyear was fine.
It was okay.
But I don't think it was the
Sox.
same kind of challenging storytelling that we see
awesome.
before from Pixar. It was still great. And don't get me wrong, like I'll go see an MCU movie and I love it, and that is just filled with like this is a cash cow that we are milking, and I get that, and I still enjoy it, but Pixar has evolved over time as they've become more part of that corporate entity.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
Well, you've seen this. We haven't seen it yet, but I kind of have heard people feel the same way about the new Black Adam movie, that it's like you can tell there was so much corporate.
I mean, that's how
into it.
I mean, the thing about and I won't go too far in the
yeah, I don't want to distract us.
But in the weeds here. But so when you get a company like Warner Brothers, and they're hooked up with a company like DC, just like you have Disney and Marvel.
Right.
The thing about Warner Brothers is that Warner Brothers has always been a big box office movie set. Like that's their spiel.
True.
Right.
They don't ever say they're not that. And so I think when you go to see a Warner Brothers / DC movie, you know that you're going to get this big
bombastic
thing. What I think they were trying to do with Black Adam, and they didn't quite hit the mark with it, is they were trying to show that they can have a big action-packed movie with big stars again that brings you into the characters that you love. They almost did it. They almost didn't. That movie didn't suck. I really enjoyed the action. I really enjoyed it. Felt a little bit like The Mummy with 300 in there. It had that feel. So there are visuals in that movie that I haven't seen before.
That's
and
cool.
What I like with Warner Brothers is that they do push the boundaries on visuals, but what they lack is trying to come up with original content, which they have loads of original content around these superheroes. They're worried too much about what the more popular kid at school is doing, and that's where they've been the last 15 years of their life with a lot of their movies, and that's where they fail.
That's where Aquaman really surprised me, is they let James Wan go nuts with that movie. That movie shouldn't have worked at all, and it does. It's not the greatest film, but it's a fun little thing that's its own.
All I know is that what I've heard is that Black Adam is the greatest superhero movie ever. It was said by Dwayne Johnson. If you think I'm going to argue with The Rock about anything, forget it.
This is all I'm going to say. You know how much I love The Rock.
I do.
And I really wanted The Rock to save DC Warner Brothers, right? And they almost did it. The movie for me was about 35 minutes too long. It was very much a Tennant Nolan movie where it was loud AF.
Yeah.
And it was one storyline too many.
Okay.
So take one storyline out, bring the volume down a little bit. Maybe I'm old, I don't know. And I just think when we get into movies like a movie that we're talking about today with The Book of Life, that a lot of what is cultural about that movie is the music and the sound. But when you have music and sound throughout, and you don't have quiet moments where the audience can be one with the character and the actor and really get to know that character and care about them, it just feels like you're watching a music video the whole time and you're just waiting for it to end. That's where Warner Brothers doesn't hit where Marvel hits. Marvel can do a 3-hour movie, take out anything except for dialogue so that you feel like you are captivated with this moment, with these people. You care about the characters regardless of how many times you've seen them on screen, and you're emotional. But what Warner Brothers can't take away from DC is that music and the sound, and that's where I think that if they would have had moments, these big dialogue moments where it's heartfelt, but they have music going in the background, don't be afraid of taking that music out, Warner Brothers. You know, and we see it in this movie as well, where there are those quiet moments.
And that helps.
In an animated movie that is based on culture and based on this, they had the guts to say no for a minute so that we can actually be captivated by this character in that moment and just let the action, the acting, the dialogue rein in. And that's why I think Black Adam, if they would have left music out of those moments, it would have stepped it up a little bit more for me.
Well, in this film, I love the fact that they took these pop songs, but put this complete twist on it and made it folklore mariachi type sounding.
Now we're getting to the part that I struggled with a little bit. I liked that a lot. What I didn't like about it is then they had some original songs in there. And the reason I didn't like it is the original songs were not as good as the pop songs that they included. Like they just and it was just a very jarring, noticeable like, okay, like it was like getting this really cool pop song and then like the equivalent of I'm a map, you know, from Dora the Explorer.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad you said what that was from because I had no clue.
Yeah, but that's to me how it felt.
I just always wonder, like, the pitch meeting for I'm the Map.
I know.
Like, there's a guy in the pitch meeting when they're all sitting around the table. Okay, so now we have a map, and we need a song, and the guy's like, I got it. I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map.
That's
winner.
Yeah, perfect.
And it is because we all remember it. So
throw it in. But like when he's singing the song to the bowl at the end,
that song.
which is a great moment in the movie,
right.
and it doesn't take me out of the movie completely. But I'm like, this song just it's not one that I would turn on and listen to again.
That's a good point.
But the versions of the pop songs that they had in there were gold, and I thought they were fantastic.
I never thought taking a Creep by Radiohead.
Yeah.
Taking a Radiohead song and putting it to a mariachi background. And it worked.
It was really cool.
Animated movie.
Yeah, because Creep is not a kid's song.
No, not at all.
Like, I don't want my 6-year-old to see to Creep typically.
I mean, they don't know what it means. When I first started listening to that song, I didn't know what it meant until like 2 years ago.
Book of Life, Fight Club. Both had Creep. Both very different movies.
Very different movies. I was listening to music a while ago, exercising, and my playlist, it popped up with Creep, and then it was followed by Loser by Beck, and I thought, this is not the pick-me-up kind of music that I want for
I'm just
right
going to
now.
go sit in the corner.
You can cry your way through your workout. I've done it before.
Yeah, I almost did. I switched to Imagine Dragons, and I was fine.
That would make me cry.
Then you get
that's fair. I totally get it.
I don't listen. Nothing against Imagine Dragons. It's not my jam.
But well, that's I mean, that's the cool thing about music is
and movies.
All sorts of other music to listen to. Yeah.
But I do. I love it when you take a song that you know and you reimagine it and reinvent it. I really like that. And I just thought the juxtaposition of not only the color, the animation, the cubism that was in this movie, and then all these different songs, it just shows you that, there may have been some cultural mishaps with this movie. They shouldn't have, as much as Channing Tatum is funny, I think it was kind of a miscast, but you need to make money.
A little bit of a name.
But all in all, I think it was really fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
I love for the most, and I agree with you. I thought, I wouldn't have guessed that was Channing Tatum, and I didn't remember that until I looked up Diego Luna. But I love Ron Perlman doing Zabulba. I mean, like, he kind of reminded me of Hades with James Caan. No.
Yeah, James Caan.
No, it's somebody else. Anyway, it kind of made me think
Google.
of Hades from
I don't.
Hades.
My Google is over there.
He has Google.
Hold, please. Go ahead.
Please.
But I liked Sebulba. I liked La Muerte. I liked the relationship between the two of them as well. And then the guy, the candle maker, in the middle, was just kind of there.
Ice Cube.
But Ron
James Woods.
James Woods.
We knew it was James. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes more sense now that I'm thinking about it. But Ron Perlman is so talented, and I think that we forget that sometimes because of some of the films that he's been in, some of the characters that he's played, and I think people seem to gravitate toward, like Sons of Anarchy was huge, and he was in that, and that was a role that people kind of instantly recognized. But he is a really talented actor, for sure. And I think voice acting really brings that out in a lot of performers that don't typically do a lot of voice acting. You get to see them in a whole new light, because until you look up that that's who played Sebulba, I don't think that becomes completely apparent.
You're not
right
immediately
away.
like, that's Ron Perlman. Yeah.
And I like that.
Well, and I love just like Zoe Saldana. Like, she is this no-nonsense character that has so much humor and like this brevity like to her, because it doesn't hit you over the head like, it's another... Because you hear it all the time. It's another just strong female, the blah, blah, blah. You don't hear that about male like
because
it's
they're
just a male
supposed to be.
character, right?
Exactly.
But it's just so playful and fun, but real at the same time. Like I can see myself saying those things, like when they're having the fight, and then she's like, "And you're both in love with the same thing." Well, that's original, and the guitar goes flying, and it's just and that scene in general, like having that big open space in an animated movie with that's a huge space to animate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then to have all the different angles in that animation, like there's so many things going on with the story that is cool in that scene, with the characters that are cool, but then if you shut the sound off and you pause it and just see everything that's in that room
really
and how fast that camera spins around, it's just cool.
Just very well done.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you've got kind of this love story that's going throughout, and you feel a little bit bad for the guy with the medal. I forget his name. Not the main protagonist, but the
hold please.
I
had it.
You feel a little bit bad for
Joaquin.
Joaquin, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, of course it's Joaquin, because every time he jumps anywhere, Joaquin. Like I don't know why I forgot that was his name.
I loved the originality of the Sanchez family.
Oh my gosh.
Where you have, because they all died fighting bulls, and then the mom later, when they're in the land of the dead, and the mom's like, well, there's a reason you guys, there are so many of us here.
None of us learned.
But you have the ancestor who's lost one arm and he has a sword, and then he's lost a leg and he has a sword for a leg.
Yep, of course.
Just very creative.
Yeah.
It was, and I love that moment too when he finds his mom and he's like, "Yeah, I became a bullfighter just like you wanted, like I wanted." Yeah. When your father gets here, like
Dad said.
Yeah, exactly. But I loved the couple, Manolo. Like she makes him better, right? And I think when you're looking for that special someone, whoever that is for you, it's someone who makes you better and make not just better, but your best self. Because that's really what it is. It's not, she doesn't want him to conform to her thoughts and whatever, but
she wants him to see the greatness that he has in him and
Exactly.
to notice it.
Right.
He was always that better person. He just didn't know it yet.
Well,
yes.
I really like too is that they didn't make Joaquin the villain.
Yeah.
Because
No.
oftentimes that's the trope. You get the love triangle, and the one guy gets jealous and he becomes evil and mean, and then they have to fight. And instead, it's like they still have this friendship between the three of them, which I really like. Because oftentimes it's the two guys are friends, and the girl's just kind of the object that they're going after. Whereas this, they were like three friends that were all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I really loved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he wasn't a bad guy. Like he was still trying to do good stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And for him, the struggle was, could he be that big heroic person without the medal?
Right.
And in the end, he figures a way to do it. And I like that too.
Yeah. All in all, it's enjoyable, but like I totally forgot the movie existed.
Yeah.
Which is its issue. But I think 2014 was an explosion of animation between 2013 and 2018.
Yeah.
There was like an explosion of
ton.
animation, and actually, I think it started in 2012.
Yeah.
And it was just hard to keep up with.
Well, for the longest time, it was one Disney movie every year or every other year.
And when you're a family trying to go see if you only have many selections,
right.
and I hate to say this, most people, especially here in Utah, and I don't know how it is in other cities, but I know we usually hold records, but they're going to go towards the Disney movies.
Right.
So I'm kind of excited the fact that this movie got picked up and is on Disney Plus, because I think a lot of people that maybe have missed it before will now experience this movie. And of course you're going to make those, you're going to say, okay, well, it's like Coco. You know what? It's okay. There are a lot of animated movies out there that are like a lot of other animated movies, just like a lot of other movies are like a lot of other movies.
Right.
But there's so many stories to tell.
Yeah.
And Coco is so different in tone, in animation, in storyline. They just happen to have
be set
a
around
similar thing.
The Day of the Dead.
Yeah,
Right, and
a
that's-
similar thing.
And that's the thing is, and I think that's when you're making comparisons, right? You can say, well, this is similar in that it happens on the same holiday and it is a similar culture and everything else.
Not
but the
every
stories are
princess
very,
movie
very
is the
different.
same.
Christmas movie's the same.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is just another Christmas movie that's exactly the same. And
on Hallmark, yes.
Yes. Exactly. Like there's a difference between the Christmas movie genre and then a Hallmark Christmas movie that is
or
exactly
saying,
the
oh,
same.
it's another princess movie.
Right.
Well, Mulan is not, Ariel is not Snow White. You know?
Right. And so that's okay that this happens on the same time or same day, same holiday, same culture. I think all of that's great because guess what? It's a culture I'm not as familiar with.
And we don't see very much of it.
Right. On the public view.
So.
And the thing that I love, and I kind of knew this before, but I love how different their view of death is than what we typically think of.
Yeah.
So typically we think about dressing in black and being mournful
it's a
and
celebration.
Quiet. And here it is celebration and color and light and candles and sharing.
Well,
and I love
it's a continuation.
Yeah.
And they had the two places, right? Very similar to the Western world idea. And Mexico's in the Western world, I know.
I get what you
mean. But very similar to the Judeo-Christian tradition of, the Christian tradition of heaven and hell. But for them, the heaven were the people, the ancestors who were remembered, that people still knew and remembered, and the hell was when you got forgotten.
That's a pretty good definition of hell.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Like you went to the land of forgotten when your family didn't remember you anymore, when there was no one left to remember who you were.
Well,
and that tie to ancestors and family, you see that in so many different cultures and in so many different stories. And I think it's something that's pretty universal.
Oh, yeah. Well, and not to bring us down or anything, but...
Well, it wouldn't be a show if you didn't. I'm teasing. That is not true.
Well done, sir. Well done. But, like, I took my dad this last Memorial Day and took him up to Wallsburg, this small little town at Provo Canyon, where my great-grandmother is buried. And he was just like, I know your great-grandmother's parents, but you guys didn't ever know her, and you're not going to come up here and put flowers on theirs. And so my dad was just saying, after a couple generations, you are forgotten. And he got really emotional about it. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of true. So I was thinking about that last night while watching this. Yeah.
I just want to point this out. I have bad allergies today. I don't have a tissue, but I have a dryer sheet. So I'm going to do this.
Do you want
me
to
get
you
the
napkin?
Fresh So Clean. That's
I'm
all I had in my pocket.
Like chemicals are in a dryer sheet that are going to affect your nose.
I mean, it smells delicious, and there's going to be no static up there. So
it's a win-win. I mean, really.
That's all I had in my pocket. I had in my pocket other than my gloves, and I'm not going to wipe my nose with my gloves. I'm good now, but
I don't know what we've been doing for the last, for however long dryer sheets have been
now going to be like a Mean Girls thing, and everybody's going to go out. I'm not condoning it because if something happens to you, this was an emergency moment.
We don't know what the consequences long term are going to be of the dryer sheet.
I'll let you know in a couple days what's going on in there. If you really want to know, message me.
Yeah. Send us a message.
This is why I love this show. Because, we talk about a little bit about what movie we want to watch, and then everything is just completely off the cuff.
And sometimes it's a very little bit that we talk about the movie that we want to talk about.
I think we're doing a really good
job
today.
With ratio.
This is no Karate Kid episode.
The Karate Kid episode is still legendary in my mind. And there is still the missing, quote-unquote, Back to the Future episode where we also did not talk about Back to the Future.
No, we did not.
At all.
But I just love the fact that we're, talking about, being forgotten in the generations, and that it's I got a dryer cloth, and I'm going to make sure my nose is static free. I just love that. I think that's great.
Yeah, I
sorry to ruin your heartfelt moment with static clean.
No, it was good.
But
you
that's
waited.
What a good movie does.
You waited until the heartfelt moment was over.
You do the heartfelt moment, and then you got to bring them back up.
Yeah.
That is filmmaking
Sometimes
101.
people forget how to do that in a story, and then you just feel sad.
Right.
And I don't... Feeling sad is good, but...
But, you want a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that this movie did that either. It didn't make me feel sad. Although my favorite is Marin came in while I was watching it. She's like, "Oh, are you watching Book of Life?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I watched this the other day." I said, "Oh, good." She's like, "The ending is really sad." I'm like, "Well, I haven't seen it, so thank you for that."
She was getting you prepared.
Yeah. She was like, "Oh, I don't want to spoil it for you." Well, you can. Okay. We'll talk about how spoilers work.
It wasn't like a moment from She-Hulk or wait, was it She-Hulk? There are so many shows.
I know there's a ton right now that I'm trying to keep track of.
She-Hulk when she ruins.
Where Madison ruins it for Wongers.
Yeah,
The Sopranos.
But like she was very specific. You just got feelings,
right?
Yeah, that's
where
true.
she could have been. It's sad at the end when blah 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 blah.
My kids,
Wongers.
Marin and Ben, especially my two youngest, are very bad about spoiling movies. If they have seen it and I haven't, I cannot watch the movie with them because I know that they'll be like, "Oh, this is the part where this happens." I'm like, "Well, great." And usually it's a kids movie, so it's not a big deal. Like I'm not going to get upset about a kids movie being spoiled, but they need to get better at that as they get older, or else I'm not going to watch movies with them.
I have a friend who hates watching movies with me that I've seen that he hasn't, especially if it's like a comedy.
Yeah.
Because I'll start giggling when I know something funny's coming up, and he's like,
I can see that. That would probably be a problem with you, Tracy. I could see that.
If I have seen it before and I know that it's coming, I'll start giggling.
You would never spoil a movie intentionally.
I have no poker face.
Yeah.
I watched The Mole on Netflix, and I'm like, I could never do that show because I would completely be like, well, it's me.
So it sounds like when we go to Disneyland together, we're gonna have to stop in Vegas and play some cards with Tracy.
Totally, you guys would clean up. You would clean up against me, absolutely.
All right. I mean, we can do that at home. We don't have to go to Vegas.
That's true. It's cheaper.
But on the way to Disney,
okay,
we'll stop over in Vegas. Yeah,
everything's better on the way to Disney.
Well, yeah.
But Vegas on the way home isn't as good.
No,
you got to do it on the way
home.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
way home, you just drive straight through.
Because that's what stays with you. Like, if you go to Vegas and then you go to Disney, you've got all those Disney memories.
Yeah.
If you
and
hit
then
Vegas
you drop
on the way
all that
home,
off and just bring cigar smoke back with you. Nobody wants
it used to be cigar smoke. No, it's a different kind of smoke.
Yeah, it's still smoke.
It's all. There are a lot of smells happening.
But there's one very dominant smell nowadays.
This will be a surprise to both of you. My wife and I have not been overly exposed to certain things in this world.
Okay.
And for our 15th wedding anniversary, we went to Las Vegas. And as we walked down the strip, we kept like, there's like a ton of skunks around here. It is so skunky. And then we realized what it was. And then, it made more sense.
We got hotboxed.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because the last time I went, we went to see a comedy show. And Dave had never been to Old Town with the Old Strip.
Okay, yeah.
So we stayed at one of those hotels, and you walk out, and it's the Old Strip, but they now have it covered, right?
Yeah, and they've got like the light show up.
And it was you're just getting hotboxed in there.
I'm sure.
All enclosed. It's bad enough on the Strip where it's open. You get where it's enclosed.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite is, here's the thing. I'm not trying to rail against anybody who partakes in marijuana or whatever. I don't know if that's going to get us in trouble for saying that.
Way to go, Jake. I have been so careful.
You have, and that was really bad.
It's fine.
And in a lot of places, it is now legal, and so I have to respect the law, right? But it is so interesting because in Vegas, it's actually not legal on the Strip.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've got signs posted everywhere letting you know that.
Yeah.
And just like everything else in Vegas, nobody cares.
I just want to know what you did there.
Yeah, it was
weird.
People
for
ask
you.
that question a lot.
Did you just go see shows and sit by the pool?
When we went, a lot of the shows weren't open yet. We went because it was cheap.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like April of 2021
That's
when
right.
we went.
But was it nice enough to sit by the pool and like have
So
go
we
to some
did that.
good
They had
restaurants?
like a Marvel display there that we went and
cool.
saw that had like a bunch of stuff from the movies. We went to some restaurants. We went to like one of the Gordon Ramsay restaurants there and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I could go to Vegas and just eat.
Yeah, the food is amazing.
Yeah.
But after we were only there for a couple of days, and after a couple of days, we're like, this is enough. Like it's not our scene.
Right.
A lot of people really love it.
Same.
Yeah. And that's great, but without the shows being there really wasn't a lot for us to go.
I feel like I'm too old and tired for Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Like I know there are people that are older than me and still go, but it's because they have energy and they stay up past 9 o'clock.
When
they go clubbing, they
whenever
go
I go
drinking,
to a concert
they go
now,
I can't.
I always think that unless it's seating for the entire room.
Yeah.
If there's like any kind of open space in the front, I'm like, I'm going to stand back here because I don't want to get involved in any of the jumping.
I just went to Guar. And I was in it, man.
Yeah, we saw the pictures.
Like Dave was really in it.
Yeah.
I went to the one that I remember the most is when I saw Social Distortion.
Oh.
And I was up towards the front because I'd never seen them before and I really liked their music and then after about 5 minutes I'm like, I'm going to get killed if I stay up here. So I'm like I go way in the back and just enjoy the show.
Well, it was.
I'm too old for this.
It was interesting when we went, and this is again, nobody cares, but when we went, it was Final Four weekend.
Oh, okay.
And this was like people had their shots now, so people were finally starting to travel again, and it was packed in Vegas. But a bunch of stuff still wasn't open, so there was no place for these people to go. So it was just a ton of people walking up and down the strip, or like everywhere you went that was open was just extremely packed. And so that was the only thing that I was like, at a different time, maybe I would enjoy this more, but I don't know that I really would.
Yeah, Vegas.
Speaking of, I'll be there in a couple days.
For a Magic the Gathering conference.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good time.
Work.
Doesn't matter where it is. Magic the Gathering?
Is it?
I don't know.
I just got my first Magic card from my friend. He was hoping it would spark, and I'm like, calm down. But it's a pin trading Magic card.
Oh, interesting.
So that's how he's trying to get you in.
Yeah, I'm like, I've just started D&D. Just calm down.
So a few years ago, we bought a starter deck for Magic the Gathering because we're like, well, let's figure this out and figure out how to play this. People seem to like it. I was so confused on how to do it and what to do, and I was like, I don't know what we're... So it went up in our closet shelf, and I think it's still sitting there to this day.
Wow.
Probably like vintage now.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
Oh, okay.
Vintage, because Magic the Gathering, that was when I was in middle school and high school is when that started coming out.
I was in college.
Some of those cards are worth millions.
I know, some of them are very... I don't know what it is.
I just saw, like, there was a one with a black dahlia on it that's worth, like, $500,000. I saw that the other day.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the artwork and everything.
Well,
so anywho.
Now we have gone completely off the rails.
But it wasn't for very long.
Blame it on Vegas. Blame it on Vegas.
So many people have blamed so many things on Vegas. All right, well, let's give this a grade.
Okay.
The Book of Life. Tracy, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go A- on this one.
I feel like we're at the Oscars right now.
I know, this music is
They're
very
playing
epic.
me off. No, stop it. No, but I love the animation. I think the vocal work is great. I think the script is really clever. Towards the end, where he has the bullfight, I thought was great. I love that he was never afraid of being a bullfighter. He was afraid of being himself. The messaging behind it. I really think this is a really underrated film, and it's one that I could watch again very easily. So I'm going A- on this one.
I also think it's fairly underrated, and I think there's a lot to see here that's super special. But even when I got to the end again and I enjoyed it, it for me, it wasn't like one that I'm just like, I loved it so much that I need to collect things or go back to it, or like WALL-E for me is, and I know some people don't like WALL-E, but like everybody has
Those
something.
people are wrong.
Okay. Careful.
For me, it pushed the boundaries visually, which I loved. I liked the story. I liked how creative the director got with his own culture, and like introducing people to that and really opening that up. And I mean, for me, it's a solid B. Just because I'm probably going to forget about it again and then be reintroduced to it again in a couple of years. I hope more people see it, and I really appreciate it and respect it. It just didn't hit my magical place of like wanting to watch it over and over and over.
I downsized a bunch of my Funko Pops, but I kept my Book of Life ones because they're really cool.
Yeah. No, the visuals again are so amazing.
Right.
Yeah. And there you go. There's the difference between an A- grade and a B grade. You kept the collectibles. She said she's not buying collectibles. So
she's going to forget about it and watch it again in a few years.
This is an interesting thing. I don't know that I liked the movie.
Okay.
Like, it was fine. But I also recognize there's a lot of really good stuff about the movie. So for me, this is one of those where I'm going to give it a B, even though I'm not probably going to go back and watch it again anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that it really thrilled my kids that much, but I also recognize, even though I didn't care for the animation as much in the style that they chose, I also recognize it's really beautiful and amazing work and very stylized.
Yeah, you respect it. It's like me. We respect it. Of everything that came out of it. It's just not our jam.
Yeah, sure. That's where I'm at with it.
There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely.
So
people keep telling me to go back and watch Clone Wars, and I can't get past the first 3 seasons of animation.
I can't do it. Yeah, I tried.
Listen, I've said enough to upset Star Wars fans on this show. But I'm just going to agree with both of you. I have tried Clone Wars multiple times, and I'm just like,
I've been told to start at season 4 and just go from there, and then I would get it. So maybe I will. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's hard because there's so much out there that you want to watch. But
Yeah, that's just so low on my list after I've tried so many times. But all right, well, there you go. We want to thank Maria's again for letting us come and crash their restaurant here.
Come check out their
food.
food.
Their food is
really
amazing.
They're not paying us to say this.
No, we're paying for our food.
Here, right?
Yeah.
We actually chose the place first and the movie second, I believe.
This is a good point.
Yeah. And it kind of just worked out.
And, and I wasn't when I suggested Book of Life. It wasn't because of being at a Mexican restaurant.
It was because it's Halloween.
It's Halloween, and we wanted to do something that was a little different. That wasn't quite as obvious to pick.
Yeah.
We do have another Disney trivia night coming up that we're going to be doing in November to raise money.
American Cancer Society.
We should have started there. Why didn't we start? I'm sorry, Tracy.
No,
we should have started with that.
Good.
Tell us what is happening at the Midway on November 18th.
It's a Friday. We're going to start about 6 o'clock. We'll go to about 11. We're doing Disney trivia. We did something similar around Halloween last year. So we'll have Disney trivia. We've got Disney raffle prizes. Val's got a lot of movie stuff swag from the studios that she's going to have available.
Some D23 stuff I'm going to be giving away.
Really cool stuff. I've got a Funko Pop signed by Diane Guerrero, who was Isabella in Encanto. A Jodie Benson Little Mermaid print signed that we're giving away. Just all sorts of really cool Disney stuff. And then we've got a few other things. We've got a smoker to give away. We're going to be at the Midway. Midway is out on 72nd.
It is a 21 and over.
21 and over event. So come on down, hang out. Even if you don't
I'm going to be bringing my kid for the first time.
I know, that's exciting.
And just got to let you know, like, she's participating in the trivia.
She's going to kick everybody's butts.
But I also told her to bring money so she can be buying raffle tickets and such.
So, if you can't make it, we totally get it. Some of you aren't located in Utah. We appreciate your support. Anyway, we are going to post and pin at the top of our Facebook page the link where you can go and donate to Tracy's campaign to raise money. His goal, if you don't know, $5,000.
$5,000 is the goal, and right now we're about 37, 38. So we're
so close.
But
we would love if in the coming weeks.
We want to push that over the edge. We want to get to the $5,000 mark.
We know you guys are great. We saw so many of you at Fan Edge that came out and supported us. We saw you at Sharknado when you came out and supported us, and we love that. We think that our audience, you guys, can really put us over the edge to get us over that 5,000, and we would really appreciate the support to make
and
that
that's
happen.
The thing is, anything we raise, 100% goes to the American Cancer Society, and they're like in the top 1% of charities in terms of putting the money that they receive into the actual cancer research. They provide housing. Like, I've got a friend who is going through cancer treatment right now up at the U at the Huntsman Cancer Center, and she's staying at the American Cancer Society housing that they do not charge for because she's got to travel several hours and then to get chemotherapy all day. She can't just turn around and drive back home. They provide rides for people to get to their appointments and stuff like that, and just the research and the knowledge. And American Cancer Society, I can't think of anybody that's not been affected by cancer in some way, shape, or form. So come on out, enjoy. Even if, like I said, even if you don't drink, they've got great food. We're going to have a lot of fun. Disney trivia. There'll probably be some karaoke.
You're threatening us with that?
Stay late enough.
Stay late enough. There's probably going to be some karaoke.
But it should be a lot of fun. We're grateful to the Midway for letting us come and do that there. And really, we just appreciate any support we can get. So come out, join us, have fun. If you can't join us, we will have the link where you can donate on our page.
Even $5 helps. So.
Every little bit helps us get there to that goal. And that's just one person in your group that's doing this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Tracy's part of a larger group that's raising money for their running.
Our Disney group, in the 5 years that American Cancer Society has been working with Run Disney, we have now become their second largest sponsor.
That's awesome.
In all of the Run Disney events.
That's awesome.
I believe our group that's just doing Disney World Marathon Weekend, I believe that we are now over $100,000.
Nice.
That's incredible.
Totally.
That's incredible.
Raised, so
awesome.
Come be part of that. Great work. We would love to see you. And we have some other great things planned and coming up for you guys. We're going to have some more content. We're going to go live more often. things like that. You're going to see the three of us together more.
Threatening us with that.
Yeah, I know. We're just throwing out all sorts of threats. So
next time I'll get the memo on blue.
Yeah,
we're blue today. I have a little bit of blue.
There you go. Yeah, you're Kong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys both wore movie shirts, and I.
Well, you're wearing a really important shirt.
Well, yes.
And all I did was wear this shirt that talks about raising money for cancer.
But it is a sweet shirt.
It is a sweet.
Roosevelt's.
Oh, yes, my shirt is sweet. But your shirt is sweet, too. That's what we were calling
Val, yours is, too. I like Kong. Yes.
Oh, I commented on Val's shirt.
Skull Island?
No, it's the newest movie.
Yeah, the Kong versus...
Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus
But I think it has a very Halloweenish look because he's kind of like in front of the sun or moon, some circular
Dave
light.
has the Team Godzilla shirt.
Okay.
That's our relationship. He's Pepsi and Godzilla. I'm Coke and Kong.
But you guys make it work somehow.
We do.
Yeah.
It's a magical
It's a miracle.
And I got to say, Dave is going to be at the event, and Dave is hilarious. So come out, meet Sammy.
My daughter's going to be there.
Yeah, come meet Sammy, meet Dave, hang out with us.
If you came to our Sharknado event, I think you'll have to agree that Dave really made that event special.
Well, and whoever just won the $600 tattoo gift certificate just came and got their tattoo the other day. He texted me and said the winner is here, and again, he didn't make anything that day because that person went in with that gift certificate, and
That's
he donated
like a 6-hour tattoo.
He donated
that is so cool.
His time, which he'll probably be donating again.
What did the guy or the person
I don't
get?
know.
Do you know?
I didn't ask.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think I know who it is. We can talk about it off air. I don't know what they got, but we can talk about it off air.
Oh, I do remember who won. That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So, but all super exciting stuff. We are going to be out in the community more. I think we've kind of finally, trying to get back out there, which is what we always wanted to do with this show anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID threw everything off, so
Great, we've said marijuana and COVID on this show. Now it'll never make the airwaves.
But we didn't say...
But we are getting applause.
That's true. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you share us with your friends. And if you subscribe and listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, again, we'd love it if you would share us with those that you think might be interested in listening to us, which is probably everybody. I would imagine who wouldn't want to listen to us talk about nonsense and movies for an hour.
And be shamed if they don't like WALL-E.
Yeah, and they'd be shamed if they don't like WALL-E. But you don't have friends that don't like WALL-E. No. Let's be honest. You listen to us, so you've got better taste than that.
Wow.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we won't see you at the movies.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been an Age of Geek media production.